And we are live.
Side by side. Side by side. Side
Side,
by side.
side.
Side by side.
Blog live.
Side by side.
Blog live.
That was a pretty good song.
Listen, I'm excited. There you go.
That's what we needed.
I'll help you guys out.
That's what we needed.
That's
Thanks.
what I'm here
Hit
for.
the
Thanks,
Rasta
Doug.
horn.
Oh, man.
Okay, guys, so we are live with episode 4.
Por favor.
That is
Episode
what it
4 of Side by Side Blog Live with none other than our friend from S3 Powersports,
S3.
Justin.
Oh,
Dustin.
my
Dustin
gosh.
Jones.
It's already ruined.
is. This is terrible.
Listen, the Jones threw me off. That's what it was.
It's been a while. We haven't done this in quite a while.
I'm so nervous as
Just
well.
a little dyslexia. Dude.
We're
No big
we're
deal.
rusty. Yeah, I came down here earlier today to try to get this whole podcast rig just like, working again. It was
Right.
a real mess. So
Horrible.
What are all these buttons?
we'll get the bugs out of it though. We'll get the rust
Listen,
rattled loose.
I know who Dustin Jones is, S3 Powersports, the Battle Axe, bro. So yeah, we have a lot to talk about today.
There's a lot going on today, dudes.
If you guys haven't noticed yet, oh my dad's calling.
Come on, Papa.
Sorry, Dad.
Please, Papa.
No, no. Listen, we are all wearing medals from Baja, bro.
3 Mexican tourists right here.
I don't even care. I don't even care. I wear the shirts, the hats,
Yeah.
all the time. I haven't stopped wearing Baja 1000 just apparel since we got
I
back.
haven't stopped living
Every
Baja
day.
1000. I'm still here in my mind, dude.
Right.
I wake up every day wishing it's 86. There's a bunch of Mexicans around me.
Listen,
That's
man.
not the case.
Baja was incredible,
Baja was incredible.
So
and we got a lot to talk about
Yeah,
with that.
we'll talk about that. I think we're going to talk about big 2018 plans. Maybe we'll talk
Right.
a little bit about how Nick's getting along with his new X3.
Oh yeah, it is lit. That's all you got to know.
Yep. But I mean, by far the biggest thing on our agenda today is talking with Mr. Jones.
Dustin Jones, S3 Powersports.
Listen.
S3.
If you guys don't know S3, Google,
Google it.
YouTube.
YouTube it.
They're all over the place.
They're all over.
You got to know him. So this guy is living the dream.
Yep.
Living the dream that we're all trying to
We're trying
live.
to get
so
to Dustin's level.
yeah.
Right.
He's actually doing it. We're going to ask him how he's doing it.
Why he's doing? Well, I think we know why he's doing it.
Right.
How it happened.
How it happened.
Yeah. Basically how it happened, how we can do it.
Right.
What?
So I feel like, I just got to call the guy. Without further ado, I'm going to make a call live.
Yep. Let's not make him wait.
Right off the phone.
Hopefully your dad doesn't call again.
I know.
We'll link him in.
Especially considering my ringtone is Snoop Dogg. I'm not sure where that leaves us with the monetization.
I
Anyway,
should talk to your dad. Ask
moving
him some
on.
questions, dude.
Dad, how's it going, bud? All right, here we go. We are calling Dustin Jones from S3 Powersports and send.
All right.
Hero.
Hello. 3 rings.
What if he doesn't answer?
Just the greatest punk of all
Real
time.
thing.
Powersports.
Dustin freaking Jones. This is your friends at SideBySideBlog.com. How you doing, bud?
Well. Of all the places running to you boys.
Fancy seeing you here, bud.
Dustin Jones from S3 Powersports on the line live. Side by
Oh,
side.
man. I'm surprised you called me at the office, man. I hardly ever answer the phone. In fact,
Thank God.
Right.
I have another Dustin that works for me that most of the time when people call asking for Dustin, it goes to him. And
Okay.
so, man, it works perfectly. He weeds through all my calls for me. So,
Was that on purpose? I feel like that's a great idea.
yeah, that's in purpose. I have like 3 Dustins that work for me, so it goes to a bunch of them.
I'm going to rename myself Dustin. I'll come down next week.
Bro, you got a job as far as I'm concerned. So.
Heck yeah, that's the secret. I mean, that's what we wanted to know is how we get in. So
Got to name
Change our
myself
That's how you do it, man. Change your name. Go down to the...
Genius.
oh man,
Just have to get changed, man. You got a job. That's all we require at S3 Powersports is just be named Dustin, and you're in.
oh man. Well, we can wrap it up here. All right.
All right, nice talking to you. Anyway, so
Yes, the talk is done. We'll see you guys in a couple of days.
So Dustin Jones from S3 Powersports. You guys might know him from the show Visions of Victory, put together by Can-Am. That's a great show, by the way, Dustin. We all enjoy that.
Thank you very much, buddy. Crazy idea we had a couple of years ago that originally just started off as like, hey man, let's track our racing. And maybe the only year we get to race out here in the desert. And so, man, it went from that to kind of a social media phenomenon thing with desert racing, and now it's turned into some lifestyle stuff. So, I mean, it's really evolved super quickly, and just came from an idea of, man, let's record what we're doing, and let's put a cool video together. So I've been very, very successful as far as finding people that are super talented. I always joke with people, I'm not the best looking, I'm not the smartest, I'm not the most creative, but I can find those people. And so,
smart, just as good.
Relationships, man, are invaluable in life. So I met a guy a couple of years ago doing an outdoors hunting show that we did. Phenomenal editor, great storyteller, great videographer. And he and I have been friends for years, man, and the opportunity came up for us to shoot something, and said, man, let's get together, let's shoot some cool racing videos. And then it turned into what it is now. So Can-Am got behind us, man. A lot of other sponsors have become involved, and it's turned into a cool thing, man, that for sure I'd hoped for and had a vision for, but I don't think anybody expected it to become what it is. Similar to what's happened with S3 Powersports. So
right, yeah. So that particular show on Facebook just gets killer hits. You know, every time one's posted, it seems like a day into it, you got a couple 100,000 hits. So a lot of people are watching it, a lot of people enjoying it. So before we get too far ahead of ourselves here, let's just talk about the history of S3, man. So you guys, I know from your website you started off in 2011, but there has to be some history before that.
Yeah, for sure, man. So obviously we grew up in Louisiana. That's where I'm from. And so we grew up mud riding, building off-road trucks like big Jeeps and stuff, man. I was born and raised with a dad that built motors and worked on vehicles, and I learned from him. So I've always been brought up around it and had a passion for it. And so, shortly after college, whenever I could finally afford to start buying some toys, man, I had a four-wheeler and was doing a lot of motor riding, all the big events down here in the South, in Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Texas, all these big events. And ran into Mr. Mao, which my older brother worked for his younger brother. So just through mutual friends, we ran into each other. He had a successful oil field company, and really enjoyed riding, but was just kind of getting into it. And so he was the guy that wanted the coolest, the latest, and the greatest, and he would go out and get it. And so for me, fresh out of college, it was cool to get to hang around his shop. They were buying, brand new side-by-sides and all the parts that you could order off of. It was like walking down Pet Boys in the chrome aisle, and he would just sweep his arm down the shelf and get everything. And so I hung out around his shop a little bit, helped him work on vehicles that I couldn't afford, but I loved being around. And I don't know, doing that 6 or 8 months, he said, man, I've got this crazy idea. I want to start a little business. I want you to come out and work for me, building me vehicles and keeping my rigs going, putting new parts on it. And so we went from just riding and having fun and keeping him in new cars till we saw a need for parts in the industry. Everything that we were running, that we were installing, we were tearing up, and we said, man, we could build this stuff better, man. So let's step out. And this was way back in early 2011, whenever side-by-side riding was getting really big. Big lifted cars out here in Louisiana were getting really big. And so after breaking tons of parts, we said, man, let's do our own stuff. And it kind of quickly transformed from just a hobby for him till we turned it into a business, man.
Wow.
And
that's freaking badass.
Built our name building parts. And it's because we have a passion for it. I tell everybody that buys our stuff, man, I know our stuff's expensive, but it's good. And I don't want to work on my car whenever I go riding, so I don't want you to have to work on yours either, man. Everybody wants to just ride and have a good time. So we build the very best parts that we can. Everything's built in the house, and it's been a long journey over the past 6-7 years. But it's a passion that's kept us going, man, and it's seen a little bit of success, and we're just now on the upside of that wave, man, and we're going to keep riding it for sure.
Right, yeah. So I think you are on the precipice of this side-by-side wave, and you guys hit really early, so you have this established name. And it's only getting more popular. It seems like every time we hit the highway to go for a ride, you see more and more side-by-sides behind trucks on trailers, and the trails you see more and more. So I think it's a great spot to be in terms of a business. Absolutely, man. And we were very fortunate to catch it on the front side. So in 2011, they were just really getting big, man. There wasn't that many options out there, but Polaris had dropped a couple of razors. They're 800, and then they're 900, and it was just really blowing up, man. And we were fortunate enough that we had a passion for it early on, and we got on the front side of it. And so
doing that, man, has been good for us. We built a name really quickly. We built a strong brand, and we've carried that on into partnerships with Can-Am as they've grown, into all the way to offering, factory accessories on the Can-Am for the Defender, and we got some other cool stuff coming, man. Some other cool stuff for the factory Can-Am stuff. So.
Yeah, man. So how did the partnership with Can-Am come about? How did they find you guys? What drove that?
So we started S3 Racing as kind of the natural evolution of power sports. We knew we had to grow. We needed to keep growing the brand, keep trying new things, dipping in different markets. So back in, I believe it was 2014, sitting around a campfire, actually in Glamis, California, we decided to start S3 Racing, which was strictly a mud racing team. And it was just me, Mr. Mal, and Shane Bowden, which was my co-pilot for a long time in Best of the Desert. But Shane was a factory-sponsored racer in the mud racing. And so he and I get together. He's super sharp, man. We're really good at building really fast motors and clutching bikes and things like that. And so he and I get together, build a couple of Renegades, a couple of Outlanders, a couple of Mavericks, and we went out in 2015, I believe it was, 14 or 15, and won like 6 championships that year, man. In the series that we're racing, we won, I think, almost every one of the pro classes. So I won it on my Renegade. He won it on his Outlander. I won it on a side-by-side. He won the open class in his Outlander. It was just, we had a phenomenal year, man. And obviously we had put in our dues and put in our work. And so Can-Am came calling, man, said, hey, are you guys interested in coming racing as a factory team for us? I said, heck yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, that's a great story, man.
That is pretty awesome.
It's really unique, man. And it was strictly, people call me all the time, man, how do we get sponsored by Monster Energy? How do we get sponsored by Can-Am? I said, this is how you do it, man. You get a 5-year plan. You plan on spending all of your own money, funding your entire race program for 5 years, have a successful race program, and then somebody's going to come knocking on the door. So,
yeah, absolutely.
For sure, people see the podiums and the Mint 400 win and the Best in the Desert race cars, but man, you guys know very well the backstory to that. Before that, we were mud racers, man, wrenching in our garages in the middle of the night, motor swapping the day before a race, man, just trying to piece parts together to get out there and just have fun originally, man. Never suspecting it would turn to what it has.
Right.
Yeah, it's a really impressive story, especially now, so we're starting to tiptoe into the desert racing scene and starting to understand a little bit, more about what it takes to do that. So, to know your story and where you came from and, to see that level of success, really understand the kind of commitment that takes. It's
pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I truly appreciate that. And a big part of that is whenever we transitioned from mud racing to desert racing, man, that was a tough transition for us. It was strictly, we built our first race cars off of Google Images. We literally went on there and searched Best in the Desert UTV, Score UTV, and started building off of pictures, man. And that's truly how we put our original program together, and went out and shocked the world by winning the Mint 400 in our 3rd race in the desert. And so, man, I've always told people, if you'd have put $1 on that race, you would have won $1 million. We were the biggest underdogs.
That's incredible.
In that entire race series, and we went out and won the biggest off-road race in the U.S.
Yeah,
so,
that's awesome.
Amazing.
Obviously, that was a huge part of our racing stardom and our recognition. But like I said, it'd been years before that, man. We'd been putting in, midnight oil, burning midnight oil, trying to get race cars built on our own dime. So
Sure. So where do you see the future taking you? Is desert racing where it's at? Is that where your focus is going to be? Where in racing,
man,
and then
absolutely.
with
I'm sorry for
with
interrupting you. Go
S3
ahead.
as well.
Yeah, for sure, man. I always aim big, and I always look a little farther beyond what I think most people look, especially, being the guys from Louisiana doing desert racing. I don't think anybody had expected S3 to go out there and win the Mint 400 and become a desert race team, and then end up with 2 cars out there in the desert with Mr. Mal piloting his own race car. And so, man, I've always aimed really high and tried to be on the front side of stuff, like, hey, what's happening? What's the cool thing? What are people following? What has value? Because obviously I have some vested interest with us having a business doing this. We had to be really calculated. So it wasn't always the cheapest, but we had to make the best moves. And so, yeah, for sure. I mean, going into 18, we we got some cool stuff going. We're going to do a lot of short course racing, keep doing some woods racing that we've always done. But ultimately, man, we're going to be out there in the desert representing Can-Am and chasing wins, man, and trying to stay on that map. And so,
very cool. Very cool.
You can tell by the development of the vehicles what Can-Am's developed and Polaris is developing and has worked on. That's the market they're going after, man. That West Coast market, that desert racing, that sports side by side with a ton of suspension travel and a ton of horsepower. That's what everybody's going after, man. And for sure, we've worked hard to be smart enough to notice that and recognize that and stay on the front of that. So we're going to be rocking down the desert for 18 for sure.
Yeah. So more on that in terms of the new products. Obviously, judging by the commercials you put together and some of the episodes from Visions of Victory, you guys have, obviously early access. Maybe this is something you can't really talk a whole lot about, but how far, back do you get to learn about the X3 and help develop the X3? Is that something you guys deal with, or are you only, let's build a race car in a month before it comes
out? And now that the X3 is out, it's not a big deal. So we got to see it back when it was a concept car. I mean, it was crazy. It was like what you see on commercials. The body, there was no plastic on the body. It was literally a cloth wrap around some hard mounted points on it. So you didn't know what the car was like. You didn't know what the body panels were going to look like. But we got to see it super early on, and this was way back. Mid last year, beginning of last year. It seems like it was right after one of the Parker races or something like that. We got to go out and drive the car. And so, obviously we were blown away to get out there, and they went to a triple cylinder turbo motor. They went to the trailing arm suspension, just had crazy travel, just a really well built car. But it's been a relationship that was in the works for a long time to build that trust and develop that program to where they say, hey guys, it's time to bring y'all inside, let y'all see some stuff. And still to this day, man, we've seen stuff that's not even in the market yet. And it's really exciting to be a part of that side of things.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very unique position to be in, but man, we've been super fortunate in the progress of the X3 and from prototype to the vehicle that we raced at Vegas to Reno last year when we unveiled it alongside the Murrays also unveiled their X3. It was a cool travel that was a 6-month process, but as far as a build, we had to build a car in 4 weeks that nobody had ever seen. We couldn't tell nobody what we were building. Whenever we were sending shocks out, we were like, man, just don't look into them too much.
They're the size of like trophy truck shocks, man. They're so
right. Oh, I know, they're ridiculous, man. They're like 4 foot tall, come up behind your head. So and that whole process was very exciting for us, for sure.
That's awesome, man. So in terms of new product that Can-Am comes out with, obviously you guys are like on the forefront, like you're talking about, and this new whole front differential system they got going on seems pretty awesome. So what are your thoughts on that? And did you have any hand in figuring that out, being that you guys are, rooted in mud? Was that something that you helped with or no?
So, for sure, Can-Am does a really good job of watching what's going on. They're really methodical in their development process. So, they've known they needed a positive traction front differential for a little while, but they really put their homework in and make sure they make a quality product before they come out with it. And so back when we were mud racing, man, we always had those talks with them whenever we were racing our original Mavericks and stuff like that. It was, giving them feedback. What do we need? What do you guys see that could improve this? What are some things that the Mud Rider are needing? And that was, unbeknownst to us, they were going to be releasing the X3 XMR and the Defender XMR and stuff like that, man, that they were going to go after that market. It's a 3 or 4 year program. But man, they were listening to us way back whenever we were strictly mud racers and mud riders, giving them input. So
yeah, that's awesome.
It's amazing how well these major manufacturers listen and watch in the market. Even today, I talk to marketing regularly, and they give me feedback on my social media on comments and stuff that I post, and it's crazy that you don't realize how many people are watching what's going on, man. And but it's cool. It's good for us. It's good for rock crawlers when they release the RC version. They release the XMR version. It's just they're listening, man. And so that front differential lock system works great. We had a lot of testing in it before it was ever out there. We beat and abused some Defenders and some X3 XMRs, and so I didn't necessarily sit down with engineers and say, hey, this is how this thing needs to work. But for sure, early on when we were giving them feedback, they were listening.
Very cool.
It's pretty awesome.
Very cool. So I got a little bit less serious of a question. I looking earlier today through all of you guys' builds. You've had so many rigs come out of your shop, and I'm sure you've had a ton of personal side-by-sides and, race vehicles. And I'm wondering if you have a favorite ride, if there's one that really stands out to you that you get excited about, and what that is.
Man, honestly, I've really enjoyed building personal side-by-sides for myself. So, a lot of times when customers come in here, obviously we love the opportunity when somebody's like, look, man, build one like you would build it. Put everything on it that you would do, the paint job, whatever you guys want to do to it. That's fun to get to do, man. We really get to cut loose on a car and people really happy afterwards. But I think one of the coolest ones to me that got the biggest feedback, and it was just because of our progression and our social media reach, was this new Defender low blow that I just built. And so the reason that one was so cool to me is because, a lot of people have built the sort of sport side-by-sides for mud riding and things like that. But whenever Can-Am came to me and they said, look, man, we released this platform. It's absolutely a utility platform, but we want to reach your people. We want to reach your mud riders, those guys that take a utility vehicle and make it into a sport riding vehicle. They said, we've got a Defender. It's doing awesome in Texas and ranches and, things like that. But we want it to be cool, man. Can you make it cool? And and whenever they told me that, I was like, oh, man, how am I going to make a utility bike cool? And so they said, look, here's a Defender. Do whatever you want to with it. And so that low blow build that I did for Mud Nationals last year, I built in 10 days, man. And it was really like, man, how do I take this dump bed trailer pulling work rig and make it into something that somebody else would want? And so that one was a really cool one for me, man. Can-Am really put some trust in us to do something with it. And it was just a cool build, man. It's something nobody had done. So that's what I always try to do whenever I do my personal builds, is something nobody's done before. And nobody had built a really sick chopped cage,
right?
Monster wheels and tires utility rig. And so I was excited to do that one for sure.
Yeah, and I'm not that surprised to hear you say that. I remember seeing that machine.
Yeah,
and it jumped out at me too, because they're tough looking.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Yeah, it was super
man,
tough.
It got such.
Go ahead. Sorry.
It got such good feedback because I don't think people had seen the rig that way. And when I saw Can-Am drop that, I thought, yeah, I could do something cool with that. It would take a little work, but people just, when you think outside the box, man, and do something like people didn't expect or that they didn't envision that for it, that's when it really has a solid impact. So, for sure you can build an X3 with a sick cage, and we built some really nice looking X3s up here and some really cool race cars, but people expect that to be a cool car. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so if you take something like the Defender that people are they don't have any expectations for, man, it's,
cool
it's cool to come out with something that really surprises people.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. So we're doing some research on you, trying to figure out what we could talk about. Obviously S3, your desert racing history, all the stuff with Can-Am, huge story. But what kind of intrigued us a little bit was your name on Facebook, and that led us to some information regarding a possible MMA fighting past, and then also maybe there was like a spinning back kick where you kicked a mirror off a car.
So yeah, a lot of people wonder where I got that name, and I've kind of kept it through everything because it's unique, it's memorable. I always tell people, make sure you make yourself memorable, man. And that's a big part of, I rock a mullet. I think a lot of people remember me and recognize me for having a mullet. And of course, I don't like a mullet. I just do it because people remember me by it, and so it stands out in people's minds. So same thing with the name. So several years ago, before I was big into racing, I was big into cage fighting, man. And so that was my life for about 3 years. And it was literally 5 days a week, 3 hours a night. I trained Muay Thai, I trained Jiu-Jitsu, I trained wrestling. And so I was hardcore into cage fighting, and acquired that name from doing a little bit of cage fighting back then. And so, yeah, in the $500 car race on Vision's Victory, I did a couple of spin kicks and knocked some mirrors off cars and stuff like that.
So do you still train regularly?
Man, between the business and dedication that I have to racing and stuff like that, there's no way. So I always tell people that ask me that if you want to be successful at something like that, you have to be 100% in. You have to train all the time, and that's my personality type. So I'm not going to go out there and be mediocre at anything. It's the same thing that I do with racing now. So I dedicate myself to racing, where I used to dedicate myself to MMA, and I wanted to be the very best. I wanted to knock people's heads off. And so to do that, I had to train every single day. And when you get to that level, man, and you're in that kind of shape and you're used to working out that way, and then you try to go back after being off for a few years, it's a little bit tough to go back into that when you're not in the same shape that you were in and all of that. So
yeah, certainly, sure.
And you know what it is, man. It's like having a family. Sometimes your priorities switch, and so now I truly have a passion for racing. And so, man, it literally as simple as getting on YouTube and watching in-car footage from, the Robbie Gordons and the Jason Bosses and the Rob McEachrons. And,
tell me about it. It's getting jacked up talking about it. So I don't know if you're watching live, but we're wearing our 50th Baja medals that we got. So I don't know if you follow us or not, but, we're mechanics for Chapo Racing. So, we're wearing our medals.
And I noticed that.
Doug's got his score hat on.
I'm full
wearing
Baja
my Baja
1000
t-shirt
out here. Yeah.
We are still
straight racing out.
So speaking of the Baja 1000,
I was looking on there that you guys went out there with Chapo. Man, you had a good experience. Y'all had fun out there.
Oh, it was absolutely nuts, man.
Incredible.
So, yeah, we are still living Baja and wishing we were there, and just and realizing how, for lack of a better word, just how savage desert racing is. You know what I mean?
Man, and that score racing down there in Baja is truly, truly the epitome of off-road racing. And so we've done that twice now. We raced it 2 years ago with the Murrays.
Yep.
And then we raced it this year with Matt Burrows, Vice President of Monster Energy, man, which is a really, really unique experience to get to race with that. And it was great. He put together a great program, man, and we went out there really with aspirations of winning like everybody does, but did all the preparation work to try to get that in. Man, it's a crazy place out there, dude. And I tell people it's truly the Wild West, and it's man, there's just so much chance that you take out there that it's a lot of stuff that's out of your control that you run into, man. And Baja is crazy down there, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, it's so nuts. If you haven't been down there, so just driving in Mexico is a whole different experience, especially when you're in a chase truck.
Oh man,
I'm sure you totally understand what I'm saying. And if you haven't been to Mexico, it's the speed limits are more of a suggestion than a requirement. And you're towing a trailer behind a diesel truck going sometimes upwards of 80, 90 miles an hour to try to make it to the next fuel stop. And roads are absolutely crazy, and you're catching air in certain spots when there's a dip that you didn't see, and you're running on, being awake for 24 hours, and it's just absolutely nuts, man.
It is, man, and I tell people it's way more dangerous to be running the roads of Baja than to be racing the Baja 1000. I would rather be in the car than driving those roads, man. That place is out of control.
Yeah, especially this year, too, from going Ensenada to La Paz, you came across all sorts of roads that were, 1 minute you're on the side of a cliff, and the next minute you're in the middle of a desert hitting, a 3-foot dip in the road, and you're catching air with not only your truck, but your trailer, too. Just totally crazy,
man. So we ran the last section from Loreto to finish, a little above Loreto to finish. So the only tough part about running the last section was the second time that I've done that. So everybody kind of sticks me at the end because they know it's like checkers or wreckers with me. So every time I get the car, I always ask, like Burroughs, I asked this time, I said, all right, buddy, we're a little bit behind. What are your expectations? What do you want me to do? And if he says checkers or wreckers, obviously I'm gonna make the hardest push I can. And just take it to finish, take care of the car, get it there. So fortunately, we were able to do that and finish the 50th Baja 1000 in that Can-Am X3 of his. But what's crazy is every time when I run the last section, it's after these Spanish people have been up partying for like 2 days straight.
Yep.
Some of them are too intoxicated to hardly walk, and that's when you start getting the people that are driving down the course. Some of them riding backwards down the course. Man, you see the craziest things by the second day of Baja. And so when I was coming into a couple of the little towns they were running through, there's people that I could tell they had seen, Rob McEachran and some of those other guys come by, and they said, I can do this in my Ford Ranger.
Right.
No, they'd be out of course racing us in their Ford Rangers, like trying to battle with us. And it's
Unreal,
crazy. the craziest stuff that you can imagine, man. So, I guess it's all the experience of Baja, huh?
Awesome experience down there.
Yeah, I can't complain one bit. It was probably the funnest trip I've had in my entire life. Dealing with side by sides and racing. It was awesome.
Heck yeah, I mean, truly a memorable trip. So
Yep.
it's like the Sturgis or like the Mardi Gras of racing, man. Just it needs to be a bucket list for anybody that cares about off-road riding and racing. You need to go do that. If nothing else, go to Ensenada and watch the start, man. Just the whole atmosphere, the passion that people have. It's like the national pastime for people on the Baja Peninsula, man. Whereas mainland Mexico is all soccer. It's truly, man, it seems like the national pastime for the Baja Peninsula is off-road racing.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
could feel that down there.
Absolutely. So congratulations on the finish anyways. I mean, you guys did finish strong. It was top 10, right? I know you're looking for a win, but still real impressive. So
Yes, sir, absolutely. We were fortunate enough to finish that. And I think I picked the car up in about 15th, 16th place, and we were able to run back up to 8th. So
that's a good push.
And I was Yeah, for sure. And I was having a conversation with somebody today. Apparently there was 400 something entries, and I think only like 205 people finished or something. That's just me repeating what I've heard, but it's a huge attrition rate, nearly a 50% attrition rate. So it's incredible down there, and just to finish that race is amazing.
Right. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy, man. Well, we don't want to take any more of your time, Dustin. We obviously would love to talk to you as long as we can, but we understand, you're still technically at work right now.
Man, when you say work, I'm sitting back. I got a Monster Energy in both hands. I got a big screen TV playing Visions of Victory. So I'm
just living the freaking dream over there. Yeah,
Absolutely.
We're sitting here drinking vodka, whatever the hell, vodka cranberry. And
listen, I'm not drinking a vodka cranberry.
I am.
I'm drinking a whiskey Coke, just so everybody knows.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, he's way more classy than vodka and cranberry. You don't drink that nasty stuff. Well, he's a classy gentleman.
Well, thank you, man. It was great talking to you. Awesome insight. We really appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anybody hasn't watched Visions of Victory, on YouTube or Facebook, go ahead and do it. It's so much fun. You feel like you know the guys after you watch it for a while.
It's really awesome.
Absolutely, man. It's totally worth it. It takes you from our racing, man, and crazy ups and downs, winning the Mint, to losing the Vegas to Reno and wrecking a brand new car, to the $500 car race where we spin kick rear view mirrors off.
And the production value is insane. Whoever is taking care of the production on that does an excellent job. It feels like you're watching, like a documentary every time you watch it. It's just professional level is off the charts.
It's great to hear, man, and I'll certainly pass that along. I know he'll appreciate it. But again, it's me being fortunate enough to build relationships, to find talented people similar to my fabricators, my salesmen, my co-pilot, the guys that maintain my race cars, man. I've been able to put together a solid team. And I've learned that from Mr. Mal, and that's truly been the success of S3 and S3 Racing, is finding these guys, finding a place for them to fit, and letting them shine in what they do the best. So I never take credit for everything that we've accomplished. It's truly my guys that have done that. Even from the fabricators that build my race cars to my co-pilot Dustin Henderson, that gets me to finish. Man, I'm just a pretty face that pushes the gas pedal and holds the steering wheel, and that's the same. That's the same thing with my business, man. I point in a direction, I give my guys the vision, and they make it happen. So
yeah, I think that's a great takeaway from this interview. And so, like I said, we appreciate your time, man. And best of luck with S3 in the future. I feel like you guys, you're just going to keep ascending the ranks of popularity, and we look forward to all the new stuff you're coming out with, and big wins in 2018 for the team.
Yeah, man, I truly appreciate the opportunity to chat with you guys. It's been a pleasure, and also thank you for that, man. I hope to come out and make a statement in 18. So we'll be making efforts to do so this year. That's for sure.
Yeah, we wish you the best of luck, man. So thanks again from the Side by Side Blog team, and
absolutely a pleasure.
We'll talk to you later, man. Thanks.
All right, for sure. See you guys.
Woo! Dustin Jones. What a good guy.
That was loud.
Fucking awesome, dude. That guy is fucking sweet, dude.
That
dude is fucking sweet, dude.
What a good guy. Let's just hit a little Rasta horn here if we can get this thing unlocked.
Sorry, it's
come on, Doug.
No. I just want to race again now. That's what I just got at. I want to friggin' race.
Dude,
sorry guys. We're working on free ad-driven apps here.
Wow, that was awesome. So Yeah, man, good guy. And obviously, just putting in a lot of hard work down there. It really shines by his. You can tell by his attitude.
Yeah.
Super relatable. Comes from the same place that we all come, just ripping 4-wheelers and trucks in the mud because it's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Next thing you know, here he is.
You find the right
Very
people,
cool.
and I feel like we've already met some of those people that have the ability to go out and buy all the new stuff and just be absolutely crazy, and then want to make it happen in a bigger way.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily live right next to them, which could be a problem.
We know them.
But we do know them. So yeah, we're gonna take some of your questions right now. So Doug, I know you're scanning through comments.
Holy moly! Yeah, I just pulled these things up here. I haven't looked at them in a while, so sorry guys. I'm a little
we got a little starstruck.
I just want to raise.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, I just can't talk today.
Boy, there's a lot of chatting, not a lot of questions yet. So maybe we just move on to our next topic. It's going to take me a little while to
yeah, that's fine with me.
Kind of filter through. So
what do you guys want to talk about?
I want to talk about you and your fucking X3.
Okay, me and the X3.
Wow.
Okay.
It's been building up.
All right. It's been building up. There's been some people literally personally offended by the fact that I didn't come out with the news sooner. Okay. I got it back in June. Okay. And just to defend myself for the nth time, I'm so busy when this is just like
this guy's busy,
like a little baby hobby on the side of like trying to actually like have a life and everything else at the same time. And we put so much time into this stuff that I don't have the time to just sit and work on videos all day. So the backlog was huge.
Right.
Got it at the end of June. Okay. Enough of that BS. It's the sickest rig ever
in the world.
Like, I don't know what to say about it. I got a review eventually coming out for it that gets into depth a little bit further, but everything about it.
To criticize it and to find things that are wrong, you're nitpicking. I mean, you're
right.
You have to go out of your way to pick something that's bad out of it.
Yeah. In relation to the kind of stuff that the kind of complaints you see about other rigs, I mean, they're really freaking good.
So good. And so I think the biggest thing for me is how it feels in comparison to other side-by-sides. So because you have these giant 30-inch tires on 14-inch rims, you get a ton of sidewall flex, right? And we don't run with high pressures like some people do. I run maybe 9-10 pounds all the time in those tires. And then you have this insane suspension travel, and then just the softest front suspension ever. Like there's probably 8 inches of just pure plushness. So when you're going around corners, when you're hitting bumps, when you're hitting whoops, it really smooths things out in a way that you didn't necessarily know was possible.
You're just like driving on a trampoline.
Yeah, you're driving on a trampoline, and it doesn't really body roll either, which is weird. You think it would body roll more because of this insane suspension travel, but it's got front and rear sway bars. They work fairly well for being stock, and it just hugs the ground and rides so well. Like I can't say enough good stuff about it.
Like what I really like when I drive it, what I really like about it is like you're coming around a turn and you just never feel like you're going to just fucking tip over.
Yeah, like unless you're really throwing yourself into a corner that's sticky, you're totally fine.
There's so much grip and there's so much power that it just...
And it's like really predictable too, like the way the machine slides on the dirt. On sticky grass, like in Doug's field, I did get up on 2 tires one time, but I was really being a dick.
Really?
You know what I mean? I would have never driven a regular side-by-side that way. Yeah. So I had to try to make that happen. But in terms of just sliding around and moving, you feel so comfortable. And I think it's accentuated by the fact that you sit down in the machine so far.
Yeah, you're pretty deep. Right. It's like getting into like a Corvette.
Yeah, like you sit down into it.
Yeah, you're deep in there.
And so your center of gravity is so low. And especially if you don't adjust it from the factory, we brought it up, probably
3 inches, probably
4 inches, right?
Yep.
And it's still super stable. So,
yeah, it's a great chassis. It's a great chassis, and the power really helps. I mean, you can drive with the power. You've always got a little extra power on tap for when you need it to straighten a situation out, and it builds a ton of confidence.
Yeah, like I never said when I was driving it, like, oh man, I wish it was a bit faster. So I've gone over this once before, but when we were in Hatfield, McCoy, I had to turn the machine down in power. Like I put the green key, which on mine is programmed to be, like the top speed limiting, power limiting key, and I ran in eco just because it was smoother and ultimately quicker that way. Because when I ran it in performance mode with the high power key, and I don't use 4-wheel drive enough, that's probably my issue, but I just spun the back tires off all the time. Like they were spinning in every situation, and how small that turbo is. It's always right on the edge of building boost. So when you're driving, you know, and the RPMs are high, you know, above 6,000, there's no perceivable lag at all. And it just kicks right on instantly.
Yep.
And if you're trying to come up a hill or go around a corner or do anything and add a little bit of power in, it just hits like a ton of bricks. Hits so hard.
Yeah, it's a light switch. It's on.
Absolutely.
Yep. So people want to know if you're doing any mods.
Doing mods.
Leaving it alone.
Okay, so a couple things that I did want to do with the machine were clutch related. So I feel like it's inconsistent. And just last weekend, Nick Sous blew a belt on it for me. Thanks, bud.
It was a whopped out belt.
Okay, that belt was in great shape.
Thing was whopped out, dude.
For
It was
the record.
ready to blow. Hey, bud, get in her. Take her for a spin. Go ahead, bud.
That
I'm
belt was
staying
in fine
out of
shape.
this one.
Okay, it could use a 2018 belt, no doubt about it, right? Because they're harder, whatever, better. But in terms of performance mods, no. Like, I'm coming from this Wildcat, man, where it had no power.
Every time you say Wildcat, I just laugh. And I'm not, you know, I'm not trying to offend anyone that's got a Wildcat. I mean, I had a ton of fun with the thing, and it was good at a lot of stuff, but...
Yeah.
Sure, Wildcats are good. His Wildcats are not good.
Just,
No offense.
It had a lot of issues. And
we don't have to dwell on that.
We're done with that. Move on. Let's talk about the X3. I don't want to hear about that shit anymore.
So, yeah, in terms of mods, I would like to reach out to some clutch people and some work done with that. Obviously, there's ways we can improve efficiency and reliability of the clutching, which I'd like to work on. Maybe turn off the live, Doug. We're not live with him anymore.
Oh, my gosh.
I was
sorry,
Dustin
everybody.
Jones. Just kidding. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
I called him Justin
He's
before the thing even started, so
Jones.
it couldn't be any worse.
He was here with us in spirit the whole time.
That's a good point.
Thinking about us. So we left him up live.
I look at Doug, I kind of see a little bit of Dustin Jones. Do you see that, Nick?
Dude, I could easily put a mullet in your head, no problem, dude.
I had a mullet for a period of time.
What do you mean?
Recently. Maybe it wasn't a full mullet, but...
Oh, yeah, he kind of did have like a weird
I
mullet.
think Dustin's hair is freaking rocking, dude. I could replicate that for you if you
It's
really
a good
want.
hairstyle, in my opinion.
It's coming back.
So having said all of that about the X3, I'm probably not going to tune it or anything like that because it's totally fast enough. I would like to work on things that, you know, aren't engine related.
Yeah.
Maybe add like an intake because it kind of it takes some of the intake sound away from the back of your head, which is sort of, you know, performance related, but for me it's more just sound related. Probably not going to do a blow off valve, clutching I have to mess with. And in terms of other stuff, you know, I kind of want to get Doug to build a little cage for it at some point here.
I know.
Dougie D-string special.
We got to get a lot before we build a cage.
I want to build a cage for it, but like we've been so busy.
There's
My
no
machine
time.
has been so neglected.
Oh, yeah.
It's my own stuff I don't even work on.
Right.
I haven't
Ridiculous.
washed
but-
my machine since before West Virginia.
Okay, that's a long time.
So I'm gonna jump in and interrupt real quick. There was a question about how people know about these live streams. So I think, you know, the best thing if you're looking to know about the live stream is to subscribe actually to the channel on
Right.
YouTube. So we will create events prior to the live stream, and if you're a subscriber on YouTube, then you will get a notification, or you should get a notification. So
I got one right there.
and
boom.
yeah, we post those things on Instagram and on Facebook. So just, you know, liking and subscribing.
Right, yeah, that's
You'll
a
get
huge thing.
notifications.
And not everybody's got Facebook, and you know, I'm gaining more respect for the people that don't have Facebook because it's really becoming a cesspool. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Of videos and weird
It's just
nonsense.
Like mine, thank God, is so just flooded with side by side stuff that I don't get bored. But other people's that like don't have these things, there's just political BS and blah blah blah. But anyway, if you don't have a Facebook, Instagram. If you don't have an Instagram,
what a fun place to be.
and you're watching from
Almost
YouTube,
as fun as sidebysideblog.com.
right? If you're watching from YouTube right now, which you are, if you're hearing me,
Right.
you would have been notified if you would have subscribed.
I don't understand the question. How don't you know you're watching, right?
Yeah,
Well,
but
maybe they just randomly came across our live stream and they jumped in 20 minutes in and said, "Hey, I wish I'd have known about this. I'd have watched the whole thing."
right. Well, after it's done, you can go back and rewind it and watch the whole thing. And if I decide to light a fire under my own ass, I'll definitely take the audio and post it so you can download it directly from our website, or I guess we can do it from iTunes and things like that.
Dude.
So you can listen to it from your vehicle, from the gym,
You should
or
listen
from
to
wherever
this.
you want to.
This is fun.
It's classic
That
good
thing
time.
was 105 pounds around my neck, dude. It felt like it's
so-
causing neck problems.
So here's
dude.
the thing.
I'm hunching a little.
Have you seen how big my head is?
It's
I
not
don't
even
even feel
over
it.
his head,
It's his
dude.
neck's this big around.
I don't
like,
feel
he's
it.
got it.
I'm wearing it for the
got
rest
it.
I
of
walk
the
around
year.
with tires and fire hydrants around my neck.
So people also want to know what you and I are doing.
I'm probably going to get in my rig and then drive it into a building, and then we'll see what happens after that.
What does that even mean?
Yeah.
I'm so confused what to do with side-by-sides right now. I just want to race. That's it.
Yeah, it's a confusing time for Doug and Nick, for sure.
It's not.
You
I'm
drive
not.
this guy's rig, and then you're like, well, this is fucking sweet. And then you drive this guy's rig. You're like, no, that's fucking sweet.
Just
kidding.
I thought he was just gonna. Oh boy.
I don't fucking know what to do, dude. I don't know what to do with myself.
Listen, so I know exactly what to do. I'm not confused about
Doug's
what
not
to do.
confused. Doug has never woken up in his life and been like, I'm a little confused today.
At the moment.
That's a lie.
I just can't tell you what exactly it is that I'm doing yet.
Secrets.
Right. It's going to be sweet,
So
and it's going to be a good time.
It's going to be an awesome good
And
time.
people are going to enjoy it.
People are going to love it.
Yep.
Look at this guy.
You both right.
Look at this guy.
You're going to love it. You're going to enjoy
fucking
it.
love it.
And the video will be out sometime February 2019. No, when I get some time off, man. So a lot of you guys probably don't know that I'm still in college despite being nearing 31. I'm really trying.
He just likes
trying.
learning, dude.
I don't like learning. Okay, I like not paying
He
student
likes
loans
expanding
back.
his mind, brother.
Anyway,
Right.
so I'm still
Keep deferring.
right. Yeah, I'm still just chasing this dream of actually graduating, and that takes up a lot of time, especially when you get into stuff that's hard.
You're right. You're right.
You know, you can't phone in some of these classes, so
You can't fucking fake them.
you can't fake them because you don't make them. It just doesn't work like that.
You're paying to be there, dude. You do whatever you want.
So the videos will be out eventually. I feel a lot of weight from the videos. A lot of weight.
It's a thing though. It's a good problem to have because it's a lot of really good content.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. There's so many cool things coming that, if you are a fan of us on Instagram, you see a lot of stuff way before it comes out on YouTube.
Get on the Insta and freaking follow us, dude. The Insta is just, I can't say enough how rocking of a place Instagram is, especially the side-by-side blog Instagram. I look at it. I'm part of the group, dude.
Right. It's a good time. I look at it all the time as well.
Every day. I'm like, damn, that shit's tight, dude.
Yeah, so we got a lot of stuff coming down the road. We've pretty much partnered with Alba at this point on Mike's YXZ, and we're going to be doing some really sick mods on that.
YXZ Build, and that thing is freaking ripping. So you guys,
so quick.
We've filmed an episode already with a mod. It's not out yet, but the thing is unbelievable for what is done to it.
It's got to be the way you broke it in, dude. There's something odd about that machine, dude.
You got to break it in like how you want to drive it. Like that's a real thing.
Mike Reed's
That
out
is
there
a real
just
thing.
Oh my god.
just freaking make it sounds like a robot dying in
That
the middle
thing
of a wood.
has spent more time on the rev limiter.
Any machine I've ever unless you have like a B16 1992 Honda Civic hatch, that might have spent a little more time on the rev limiter after you put a fart pipe on it from eBay. But second is Mike's YXZ.
It's odd how fast that thing is for just what he's done to it.
Yep. It was built on a Wednesday, broken in right. Thing rips.
Oh my god.
Interesting.
It does
is
rip.
A Wednesday. Was that a
It's a
prime
Wednesday
number
machine.
day?
Well, yeah, that's when the best machines are built, as
Yeah.
they say. You know, you don't want a machine that's built on a Monday because it's a freaking Monday, right? Nobody's happy on a Monday.
I enjoy Mondays. I
I hate Mondays. You don't want a machine that's built on a Friday because everybody's ready to go home. They ain't doing a good job building a machine on a Friday.
Wednesday.
What you need is a solid Wednesday
peak
machine.
performance.
It's hump
dude.
day, dude. People are going out for lunch,
Oh,
having
yeah,
a nice
hell yeah.
time.
Tomorrow's
Yep.
almost Thursday.
I want to build me a nice YXZ today. They, make sure the tolerances are tight, make sure they could put the best parts on.
I get it
Yep,
now,
that's
dude.
how it
I
works.
get it now. I didn't understand what you were talking about before, but now I understand.
Yeah, you get it.
Holy moly!
So do we have more questions?
We've got all sorts of questions. Do we want to roll into
Just crank them really fast.
Oh, my
We'll
gosh.
do one-word answers.
Okay.
Danielle, I need a beer. Please, quick.
King of Hammers?
I would love to do King of Hammers.
Would love to do it. Time is super minimal. Can't do it unless
Not
someone
this
wants
year.
to fund us.
If somebody gave us a car to run King of Hammers, I'd win that bitch.
We'll build a car. I'll build a car to do it.
All
We've
right.
discussed it. We
Where's
want to
that?
do it. It's just time and resources.
Yeah,
and we've
we-
only got
we
so
need
much
a car.
every year.
We
So-
need a car.
Yep.
I was looking at race cars, used race cars last night, actually, dudes.
Pretty good deal on used race cars,
There's
honestly.
pretty good deals on used race cars. We can
Gosh,
get some for like 20 to 30,000.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the issue. The 20 to 30,000 is the issue.
I'm
We
gonna
need
go
to
to
be
the
more like
casino tonight, and I'm gonna hit her big boys, and I'm gonna let her ride.
At this point, if I'm spending like 30 grand on something, it's going to be a toter home, man.
oh my god,
Oh
the
my-
toter
I need
home.
a toter home with a stacker trailer so we can just drive all over the country to these races, and then we'll build a race car.
Listen, I know he's not listening, but Shane Redline turned me on to these toter homes. That's our boy that flew me and Nick out to Vegas. That's our boy that flew us to freaking Ensenada. or should I say La Paz, wherever the hell we went
Napa,
to.
wherever we went to. We were in a lot of different places. Anyways, go ahead.
Right. The toter home. So what a toter home is a motorhome built on a semi chassis and set up for a fifth wheel trailer where you pull like a 30+ foot fifth wheel trailer, like enclosed.
That's what some call hardcore shit.
And we came across one on eBay that is beyond sick. Look at the beer come in here.
You're a good woman, Danielle.
Thank you,
You're
darling.
a good woman, Danielle.
I'm
you need
good
a
for
drink?
now. Okay, yeah, maybe I'll get another whiskey Coke for
Thanks,
the
Dan.
Whiskey Coke.
support staff upstairs. So, okay, so
People
yeah,
up there. Hey, we got good people up there, dude.
big races are on our radar, being discussed all the time. We're talking about tow rigs, we're talking about trailers. We're trying to figure out ways to do this. You know, we're on a budget.
Would love
So.
to.
How big is Sous gonna let that stash grow?
I'm probably gonna run her until March, boys. So by then it'll be the size of my fucking armpit.
March? What?
That's a ways
I don't
out.
know.
Are
I
you
just said-
serious?
Literally. So I got in the car to go to frickin' Baja, Mexico. Nick Leonard turns to me and looks and says, "Are you really taking that thing down to Mexico?"
Yeah, dude,
He said
it's
that to me.
huge.
Yeah, and I've got another 3 months out of the deal, dude.
Little did I know how useful it would be, though. Honestly,
That's a good mustache, dude. I don't know.
I mean,
he
The
got
Lord
through
blessed
everything.
me with the ability to grow a good mustache.
nobody ever looked twice at you.
Thanks. Yeah, no,
The
it
entire
turns
time.
out I walked through Mexico with my dick hanging out, dude, and nobody did shit.
I don't know if it was that serious, but it was
But anyway,
nearly
it
that
was a
serious.
freedom zone, dude, pretty much.
Oh my gosh! All right,
Now, what else do we got?
planned trips.
Okay,
for
planned
2018.
trips. Wow. Oh my God.
That's a big topic.
I
And
don't know.
We
a
go ahead.
I'd call it a dynamic situation. It's fluid at this point. There's a lot in the plans. We're just trying to figure out where it all
Choking.
lands.
Shit, I'm sorry.
Okay, so here's one thing that we want to talk about for 2018 trips. I'll probably put a video out about this so all of our fans see it, and then link it to Facebook so everybody gets access to it. But we would love to do a group ride or like a group destination dune trip to Little Sahara or something like that in 2018 to meet all the fans and, more importantly, to rip with everybody that has been watching our videos that has a side-by-side. Even if you don't, just come hang out, drink beer, have a campfire if that's a possibility. I don't know anything about
campfires,
Oklahoma.
dude. We love them.
Yep.
Just drink some Labatt Blue, drink some Clamato.
It's gonna be a rocking good time. If you guys like fun, just come out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Love meeting fans.
So much
It
fun.
is so
Love
much
meeting
fun, dude.
fans.
And I think
Yeah.
it's really nice too because you realize how level-headed everybody is, and how normal we are in person.
We're not kooks.
No, man. So just, real quick story. Last night, we go to this Christmas store that's close to us. It's called Bronner's, right? Huge Christmas Wonderland store.
Right.
We're buying some Christmas ornaments. I'm standing in a line waiting to get these ornaments, customized, get our names on them and stuff. A couple guys walk up, James and Dan, introduce themselves,
Nice.
blog fans, had a good little chat. Was an awesome time. Made me so happy. It was so cool.
That's awesome.
Self loves mingling with the people, dude.
I think you guys are
Yeah.
probably watching right now because I talked to you earlier. So what's up, dudes?
Yeah, I was at the movies the other day, and we were watching Thor Ragnarok. Good movie, by the way.
Okay.
Real good movie.
Sure.
And movie gets over, and we're sitting there waiting through the credits till the end scene, right?
Right.
And I hear over my shoulder a guy goes, "How's that X3 of yours?" I was like,
Whoa.
"What?" It turns out, just a totally cool dude.
Yeah.
He's got some sort of 4-seat. I think it was an XP900 4-seat or XP 1000
It's good, Rick.
that he's taken,
Right,
all
right.
over the
Fuck
place,
does that mean?
and just genuinely nice people.
People who ride side by sides are cool. By
Right.
definition, almost.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
You almost can't be a dick and have one because
if
they're
you
like
side by sides.
they're pricey,
You clearly like to have fun,
right?
and I like people who like having fun.
You're not wrong.
Yep. Gosh, we got all sorts of questions coming in. So
Let's hear 'em.
All right. So
Watch out! There's a
whoa.
woman walking in the room with a soda
nice.
and a friggin' whiskey in it.
thank you.
Hand me your cup, she said.
Thanks, Teresa. You're a good woman.
Lightweight flywheel for a YXZ on the trails. Yes, no problem.
No problem.
Piece of
Yes,
cake.
boom.
Not a big deal.
Mike just towed the X3 after Nick blew the belt,
It was pretty fun watching him tow it.
and you'd think, oh, this lightweight flywheel, big deal. He
No problem.
and just took right off.
Barely
problem.
noticeable.
But that thing has
Awesome mod.
150,000 more horsepower than a normal one. I don't know why.
That's
Nah.
not true.
No,
Nah.
that's not true.
Awesome mod. No
get
problem.
those flywheels. Those things do wonders, dude.
It woke his
It
machine
really
up.
does
Yes.
wonders. It's crazy.
Yep, absolutely.
I'd say get one. Next question.
Next
Wildcat XX question mark.
question. When we drive it, we'll know. Next question.
Okay, now
Back
people
up.
want to hear about the freaking Wildcat XX. I'll be honest with you. Since the Textron takeover, they have absolutely, I don't know if they've like blacklisted us or won't respond at all to any inquiry to their marketing team, or Textron is just so big that they just don't care, which is probably the case.
Right.
We know absolutely nothing. We've heard absolutely nothing. We've all seen what it is going to look like. We all know the motor that it's going to have.
I've seen a bunch of pictures of that Robbie Gordon ones. Did you see those last 3 that came out?
Yeah, I mean, that's cool and all.
Told us nothing.
Right, but those are like desert units.
It's just same old story, to some extent, man. So I get that, Textron takes this company over and there's a lot of work to do, right? Probably
Right.
a lot of loose ends to tie up, but finally you think you're making some progress, right? And they got the Havoc, right?
Right, the Havoc XX. Yeah.
Supposed to come out and the thing was about to drop, and then here recently just delayed again.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
Time
stuff,
and time
dude.
again.
Yeah.
So
It's not easy running these companies. I mean,
No.
Well, that is
the
true.
biggest one, Polaris, right? How many issues have they run into?
right.
And I think that comes with volume, and that comes with really paying attention to your product and trying to put things through like a high volume manufacturing process. You come up with all these issues, and I'm sure
Yep.
Textron is poising themselves to become that high volume manufacturer, and they're running into the same problems before they're released.
Yeah,
which is
we'd
good.
rather, obviously, I think everybody would rather they take their time and bring out a good product. And we're super interested in them like everybody else
Right.
is. I want to see what a Wildcat XX does. I want to drive one. I want to see it rip.
Yeah, it's
I'm
gonna be-
interested in it.
Yeah, 998
But,
Yamaha motor. How is that bad? How is that
It's
bad?
freaking sweet, and it does look sweet. The whole suspension setup and like the way it looks and it could be Bay
But we can't tell you when they're dropping yet. We just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, spring 2018. I feel like, Drake.
I think 18 is going to be a big one.
Oh, it'll be a huge year for side by
I
sides.
think so too. Like that secret Polaris machine.
There's going to be a secret Polaris machine.
There's got to be, dude. That's
No,
what
there
I'm
is.
secretly waiting for.
Oh, there is.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, there's something big about to drop.
Yeah,
It's not far out.
no,
So-
we don't technically know about it yet.
We don't know that, but I feel it.
But we
No,
But
we
there's
know
no
it.
way.
right.
Don't
no way.
technically know it.
Right. So on the flip side of that, got a question: best entry level side by side. How do you get into the market?
Man.
Best entry level side by side.
Okay, so I'll start with that and say, we're saying used or new. We'll say both.
We'll say both.
If you're going to buy a used machine,
Yep.
I would say buy yourself a 2013 to 2017 Maverick. OG Maverick, non-X3, big V-twin,
Yep.
decent suspension, good interior, reliable, lots of power. You just can't go wrong.
That's just what I was gonna say too, man. They're cheap and they're freaking tough,
Mm-hmm.
and they got enough suspension and enough power to have a lot of fun with.
Yeah, for a trail machine, it's hard to beat that. I mean, that's why
Yeah.
people in GNCC still use that chassis.
Yeah,
It's great.
it's a tank, dude. It's a
Yeah.
tank.
And the power delivery is pretty good on the V-twin.
Oh yeah, that motor rips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Nick, do you have any thoughts on that
XP 900.
for a used machine?
Yeah, why not, dude? That's a good rig. I kept up with you freaking people for 2 years with that thing.
Kept up with me in a Wildcat. Wow.
You did rip in the 900, man. So I remember when I had the Maverick, and at the time that thing just felt like it had so much freaking power.
Yep.
And we would go on the trails and go so hard. I mean, I would push that Maverick just about as hard as you could push it, basically. Full throttle and full brake for a split second for miles on end. And Nick Sous would chase me through the woods in his Razor 900, and I never lost him. No, every time I'd go real hard for a while, and I'd think he's probably fallen off a little bit now. I'd look behind me. Nope, there
No,
he is.
he's right
Yep.
there. That's with
Yep.
any machine with Nick, though. Like even
Oh, yeah.
when we
Right.
went riding at this local place, probably an hour north of us, I'm still pretty fresh in the X3, but I'm putting in a pretty good pace. And there was not a time where he wasn't instantly on my bumper whenever
Nope.
I looked in the rearview mirror.
Nope.
That 900 was a good machine. Realistically, though, it was a good machine.
Every time I hit the brakes hard on a trail, I think to myself, is Nick going to run into me?
Right.
Because I know he's 3 feet behind me.
Yeah, at Hatfield, you guys, it was like you're like doing the NASCAR thing, where like
It's
the
so
dude's
fun,
like
dude.
bump drafting.
It's so fun. I feel like he, knows what I'm thinking. and I know what you're thinking, so I'm not gonna crash into him.
I don't have that connection with you guys. Sorry.
This guy has trained me. He's accidentally trained me into becoming a race driver.
Interesting. I feel like you were a race driver before we met.
Probably
you, though.
that's true.
It was
but
there.
We've
It
had
was there.
literally our relationship has been practiced for us becoming a race team.
Yeah, we would
Since
go
the beginning. There's no doubt about it.
We would go trail riding, and I think we would mentally say to each other, you know, before the ride, you know, we're just gonna have a nice ride today.
Oh yeah,
We're just,
right.
you know, gonna ride a decent pace, but we're gonna be safe. You know, we're not gonna be silly, and that lasts for about a mile and a half
Right.
every time.
The first time you hit a turn, I'll see how fast I can go around this corner.
It doesn't.
110.
It doesn't matter how many times I tell myself, just gonna take it easy on the trail today.
No.
We're just gonna
I
go
can't.
for a nice little
I can't.
cruise, full throttle. Just,
Yeah.
I can't.
especially with you behind me, like you
can't.
push me.
Doug
Yeah.
Nick
pushes
Sous is
me.
behind
That's
me.
the thing, is I just keep pushing Doug. Doug keeps pushing. He's like, he's getting out a little bit front. I think I'm getting closer, dude. Let's see if I can tap his bumper real quick.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing.
And so Nick had made that comment previously that we've accidentally been practicing to be race car drivers ever since we got into side-by-sides, because even the first time I hit trails, you know, with my 2012 Wildcat, I was finding these trails that had giant whoops, insane corners, and just putting it to the floor and just letting her eat the whole time.
Yep.
And like almost dying at every turn. Because the trails we ride are not that wide.
No.
They're maybe, you know, 80 to 100 inches. And lining the trail about 98% of the time is trees. And
Yes.
luckily, none of us in the thousands of miles we put on has not hit a tree yet.
Thank God. There's been times.
But it's not that we couldn't do it.
Right.
Like you clip a tree, it's over.
Oh yeah.
I thought I was going to die at Hatfield McCoy like twice.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Literally. But then
Yeah.
I watched the footage. I'm like, I played it cool.
Yeah, it was fine. That was fine.
Wasn't that bad.
That cliff, not a big deal.
I was really calm at Hatfield McCoy and having just a great time, just kind of laughing at the at the cliffs, but still ripping pretty good. And then the other day I went through some footage and I went, whoa,
Yeah.
like holy crap,
It's
dude.
intense, man.
Yeah.
There was only like that part I thought I was going to die. The ditch just popped out of nowhere, dude. And I was trying to catch up on him.
You guys will see all this.
Yeah,
It's coming.
it's coming
Hatfield,
eventually.
You guys, man, I can't say enough.
It's cool.
That if you like riding trails and you like riding them fast and dangerous, there ain't no better
Yeah,
place in the world.
Hatfield's a place to be.
Yep.
that I've come across.
Yep.
All right,
yep,
so
yep.
what are questions? What do we got?
Pismo Beach. What do we think about a trip to
I think
Pismo
that'd
Beach?
be freaking awesome.
All right, so we have, you know, we'll just lay it out there for the blog fans. We got a huge conundrum for next year.
Yep.
You know, not trying to get too deep in the information, but just in terms of like
This is just a layout.
the amount of vacation that we can all put together at one time is going to be less than last year. And considering the fact now that we're going to, you know, almost certainly go back to Baja.
Right.
You know, if we have our choice, we're going to go back, and I think Choppa would want us to go back. So that's going to eat up a week at least, right there. You know, and then besides big trips, it's 4 days to get out to California, and then that's 4 days to get back. So that's just, you know, it's a little over a week in
Right.
just travel time.
Right. So what you likely see for 2018 is more
Yeah.
shorter trips.
Yep.
There's a lot of places to ride to around here that we like. You know, there's nothing on the East Coast that we've ever hit up.
Yeah, I don't know anything about
South,
East Coast riding.
I don't know either.
Yeah,
Is
and
that a
it's
real
just-
thing?
Yeah, to get to Pismo, like you said, I mean, it's a huge commitment.
I want to go to. We all want to go to.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, totally.
But
It's not about
realistic-
wanting.
Dunes on the ocean.
I don't own
mean,
a semi truck, and I don't have $100,000.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing would be if we could find someone, you know, that would reasonably haul our rigs out there for us price wise, it would make it more doable. You haul
Right.
the rigs out, we fly in, we rip for 5 days, and we fly back,
Right.
and then the rigs get shipped back. But I mean, figuring that out logistically and everything else, it might be too much for
Right.
what it's worth.
Just gonna go buy a helicopter and fly it out there. It makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't think helicopters are good. for
The
long
ones that
distance.
I'm looking at are, but
Next question. Go. Keep going.
Listen, we're gonna get a toter home. We'll just haul or we'll just hire a driver.
Right. No,
And
yeah,
then-
that's a real
I
thing.
mean, that's absolutely a real thing.
Like, I want a toter home. We got to figure this out.
All right.
Listen, if anybody's got a toter home to donate,
Yeah. Sidebysideblog.com at gmail.com. Subject line, free toter home.
Free toter home.
so somebody wants to know about putting a plow on a YXZ.
it's done. You could do it.
So yeah, I've seen it done.
I've seen a couple pics.
So much louder.
This
now.
is basically putting a plow on a YXZ is basically an exercise in proving to someone that you can do something that you really shouldn't do. And if you're into that sort of thing, then go for it, man.
I mean, how many plow trucks in history have been manuals? A lot of plow trucks.
Yeah.
So it's not to say you can't plow with a manual, but the height of the first gear in a YXZ is not indicative of plowing.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to freaking put tracks on it and get a gear reduction and do all that, but I mean, you can just buy a piece of crap truck with a plow on it for so cheap.
Yeah, that's
true.
Like, it's doable.
It just doesn't look like you look at a YXZ and you're like, should I put a plow on this? It just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
I think
you can do it.
The only good excuse for putting a plow on something is to get more ride time in. Like, I thought about getting a plow for the X3.
Okay.
Shit, okay, all right, it's snowing. I can ride around
Let me go
the
pretend
neighborhood.
to do some work.
Plowing snow is fun. It is fun,
It is
especially
fun, especially in your side by side.
Yep.
I've not done it, so I can't say that for sure.
Yeah, me neither, but I can only imagine.
It looks really fun.
All right, next question.
So that kind of brings us to another topic, though: winter riding. So I don't know if everybody's like totally comprehends that we're in the middle of Michigan, and it's December now, so the temperatures are falling.
Yeah, it's snowing right now, and it's in the 20s.
Yep. So a couple things. We all have to do stuff, right? We're all preparing our machines for that because obviously we're gonna ride this winter. So we're putting full windshields on. We're talking about enclosures and heaters and all that sort of thing. So there is some really cool riding that comes along with that, and hopefully some really cool side-by-side blog episodes that we've not gotten to do the last couple of years because we've had a couple bum winters around here.
Yeah.
But we have a really cool winter riding scene. We've got a lot of little rivers that freeze up.
That locally too, within like 10 minutes of all of us.
Yeah, and actually that is some awesome riding, and it's hard to understand unless you've done it. But riding a frozen river with hard packed snow on it in a side-by-side is like some of the most fun you can have on a side-by-side.
Yeah, especially considering, the width of these rivers is maybe, at best 100 feet, and at worst probably close to 10 to 15 feet. And they're very snaky because they're small rivers, really shallow. And so as you work your way up the river towards whatever source the river comes from, it just becomes more snaky.
Yep.
So every corner is a full-on drift. And if you slide through the corner, you go into cattails or something, or some farmer's field, or sometimes a stump.
I've never been there, so
you just drift for miles and miles
just
and miles.
Constant drifting.
You just
Drift
you're never not drifting for miles.
I want to experience this. I really do. I feel like I've been there with you guys all the times you've told me about it, but
yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool. So hopefully here, like within maybe a month or so. So it's we're coming into a stretch of weather that's supposed to stay below freezing. So things are starting to set up, and we get a little bit of snow. It won't be that long. We'll maybe be able to show you a little bit of that action. It's sweet.
Yeah, super duper fun. And then our regular trails too. The majority of them are dedicated snowmobile trails at that time.
they're shut
But
down.
some trails that are illegal for us to ride normally become open because the people that would enforce the laws aren't going to make it down the trail.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of trails within an hour of us that we've ridden with 10, 15 inches of fresh powder, and it's just like a totally different experience.
Not to mention we have light bars now, so we can do night rides.
Yeah, we do have light bars.
We don't have them, but we have
Rex,
them.
man.
Just, if there's ever been a more bro to the blog, obviously we've had a lot of good fans, that have supported us. This guy reached out to me via our email, and clearly he's got some sort of LED light bar sales thing that he does. I don't know if it's his actual job or what, but he sent us just a box, like a 50-pound box of light bars, just all sorts of sizes and shape and pods, and just really hooked us up beyond belief.
Yep. So I just put one on my YXZ, and it's really freaking good.
Sucker's
Yeah.
nice.
So I've had I've had light bars on everything I've had so far, on my Maverick, on my YXZ, and we don't do a ton of night riding, but why I run with them most of the time is because when we're trail riding the tight stuff, even during the day, I run the light bar because you can see it through the trees. So oncoming traffic can see you from much further away because they see that light bar glowing. And when we're running the speeds we do, that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. And anytime I've actually night ridden with the last couple light bars I've had, they were a total joke. So I've mounted them up on my roof. You get a terrible glare like off the hood, and all it does is it lights up the air right in front of your face. You get this giant glare, and you can literally see less. And I'm talking about, $100 Chinese light bars, right? Like cheap junk that I put on my stuff up until this point. So we got this new one from our buddy here, and instantly I looked at it and I noticed that it actually like back reflected.
Right.
I don't know what that's called, but there was a little reflector that reflects the light from the LED back into the lens and then projects it, and it's so much better, and it's really cool actually.
Yeah,
so I'm excited to
the
night
bulbs
ride
have like
now.
little lenses on them and stuff, and so Doug flipped it on. This thing was bright as hell.
Blew my eyeballs out for 10, 15 minutes.
And it actually projected the light instead of just lighting up the dust in front of your face and your hood.
Real nice.
So.
Thanks for that. Good friend.
Right. Just free light bars. Thanks. That's, and a guy messaged me today on the blog. He said, what's your address? I'm going to send you something. I said, is it a bomb? If so, send it to Doug's house.
Thanks, bud.
And he said it's not, and I gave him my address.
I got to know what it is first real quick, but
it's a surprise. It's some sort of, I don't know. It'll be in an Instagram post or a Facebook post.
Man.
But just good people,
By definition, straight shooter.
Straight shooter.
So there's again, I'm sorry to interrupt, but another question just popped up. Is it rude to rut up the snowmobile trails?
So this is
what year? This is a
mic etiquette today, man.
This is.
I'm trying to remain calm. Please put your damn face close to the microphone.
Oh
And
my
shut
god!
up.
So this is like the borderline conflict of interest for me because obviously I love side by sides, but my roots and what I've done for much longer than side by side riding is snowmobiling.
Interesting.
Stay off the fucking trails.
Right.
Is my opinion.
Absolutely stay off the trails for, a couple of reasons. One, it is rude.
Right.
Yeah, so snowmobilers have a very short period of time to enjoy the trails.
Incredibly short.
Yeah.
Sometimes 3 or 4 rides is all you get out of a good year.
Yep. And I think the bigger issue for everybody is, anything to do with off-road riding has opposition. And, the best way to secure the future of, side-by-sides, that market, and a good trail system is just, to work with people. It is not to piss off snowmobilers. If anything, you need them on your side, to fight the people that don't want us out in the woods at all. So stay the frick off the snowmobile trails.
Yeah, so we are kind of the same group, right? In terms of snowmobile people and side-by-side people. A lot of people like Doug have
same.
Right. Have the same machine, right?
Yep.
One he's got a side-by-side and he's got a snowmobile. And rides the same trails. And also, too, one thing you did mention is that snowmobiles travel way faster on those trails than any wheeled machine ever will.
Yeah, they fly.
And so
50,000.
if you're out there with your, Suzuki Quad Sport 230 with woolly boogers on it, you're going to get freaking
woolly boogers.
Dude,
It's a great tire, bud. Cut woolly boogers.
You're going to get hit so hard and so fast. Not only are you going to probably die and ruin your life, you're going to F somebody else up, too, because you wanted to get out and play around on some trails.
Just respect those.
Just don't do it, man.
They don't have that much time.
And the same thing goes for hunters, right? So
Dude,
in Michigan,
respect those dudes. They don't have that much time.
in this state, it's 2 weeks for rifle hunting. Just don't be out there.
Just let them give it a shot.
Let
Right.
it go. You don't need those guys against us.
No.
All summer long to ruin those trails.
Take a break, do your maintenance, leave them alone.
Yeah, when you have people on the trail that have guns, you also don't want to be on the trail.
You don't want to get shot.
And I'm not trying to say every hunter in the world's going to shoot you, but that rogue dude who's been pounding too many Coors Lights, who hasn't seen a doe in the past 4 years. And God knows what he's going to do, man. All right? And 99.9% of people aren't in that group.
What kind of snowmobile do you have, Doug?
Oh my gosh.
The people want to know.
Are you getting? That's what you're seeing.
I'm getting fucking information.
It's driving me so wild.
Oh wow!
This
So
guy
we're
calls
not
me
we're not
sending texts.
so we're not going to spend a lot of time on this because this is a side by side blog. But so
Come on.
so I trail ride a Yamaha Apex.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
Apex.
Yep.
Interessante.
And then so I've got my old trail sled is a Yamaha RX-1 that
Oh.
Therese rides, and it's it's not like it's sweet, right? I've spent a
Sure.
lot of time and put a lot of effort in all my sleds.
150,000.
And then I got a drag sled that is a VMAX 4 with a turbo RX-1 motor in it.
Tell us more about that.
400 horsepower.
Dang! I still yet to see that thing run. It just sits there in the corner. I actually fell.
Dude, I know, it's because-
I tripped on it yesterday.
He fell on it.
Sunday. I fell on the ground.
It's
and
because
instead of
you guys
breaking
are
it, I just hit the
taking up
ground.
all my time on these side by sides. So anybody who's watched a freaking garage video has seen the snowmobile sitting in the corner with a Yamaha factory racing cover over it.
For
That
years.
is a 400 horsepower ice drag sled that just sits there and collects dust because I have no time.
It's just a bunch of clothes packed underneath it. Doug he's a hoarder. He likes keeping his old clothes, so he packs it under there and makes it look like a sled.
Yeah, it's not actually
I don't know what he's doing.
It's by far the nicest thing I've ever built. The coolest thing I've ever built by a lot.
And it just sits there.
Nobody ever sees it. But.
I've seen it run back about probably 250 horsepower.
Yeah, yep. Back when I first put it together, probably.
Rocket. Absolute rocket. And it went... and it was gone.
I wish I knew that.
Picked the freaking skis up, boop, and just left.
See you later, alligator.
It was just like a total rocket ship.
Yeah, it's
What
an
about
experience, man.
what about snowmobile tracks on a side by side?
I've never experienced them.
I'd like
Me
to
either.
see what that's like.
I'd
see
like
a
to
lot
try
of
it.
cool videos about it.
I just feel like it's just so stupid and
You
expensive.
don't know that. What
It's
if they're
so
freaking
much-
amazing?
But what are you going to trail ride with them?
I don't know what you're gonna do with them. Say you lived in the fucking butt cracks of fucking Alaska or something like that. And you needed 'em.
R.I.P. monetization on this one.
I didn't
Listen, I
even
mean-
say that. I said butt cracks.
For me-
What? I said butt cracks, dude. Shit.
For me, you cross a line where you just get a cheap snowmobile because you can buy a really nice snowmobile for a lot less money than a set of tracks costs.
Oh my
One of
God.
those tracks like
You could buy-
$245,000.
You can buy
Like
two
four.
pretty good freaking snowmobiles for a set of those tracks.
They're
so
$4,000.
Oh, the good ones, yeah.
yeah,
Are you serious?
yeah, dude, they're super expensive. So I'd like to try them, but
I think they look somewhat neat, right? They
It looks
neat.
really
It
cool.
looks cool.
I would love to try one. If anybody in Michigan has a machine, and it seems like a lot of Michigan people watch us, if you have a machine with tracks,
Hit us up.
dude, would love
Let's
to.
see that shit.
We'll review it. We'll, plug whatever you want to plug. If you got anything to plug, just so we can try it out.
yeah.
Because at this point, we're probably not going to get a free set.
And I'm not buying a set ever.
Yeah.
ever.
Mostly due to all the shit talk I just gave about them.
They're so fucking
If you got them, cool. Clearly, you have enough money to just buy whatever you want because there's so much. Moving on.
All right, so out of winter wonderland here,
Thank God.
I know.
Honda.
I'm cold thinking about it.
Honda Sport side by side is
Talon.
going to exist.
I mean,
It's got to be coming, just like the Secret Players machine. It's got to be coming. There's no doubt. So did you guys see they just released like a more sport version of the freaking Pioneer, with like Fox shocks and stuff like that?
yeah, that's
It's teasing you.
They're coming.
Teasing
It's coming. There's no doubt about it.
yeah. I don't know. I again, Honda marketing team we don't really talk to, but I've seen the rumors. I've read the stuff. I've seen some trademark stuff. I haven't seen any real like legitimate patent
Evidence,
information or evidence. There's like one picture, but I think it's faked
I think it was like
or put together.
built, like I don't know.
Or someone built it. But yeah, it's coming. God knows if it's a
Gotta be.
2018 machine. It'll probably be a 2019 model year at this point if it
Yeah.
comes out next year. So, it's elusive, much like the Yamaha Sport side by side. People waited years for that machine. Years.
Yeah, I mean
So-
it's it's got to be coming. The market is getting far too big to ignore.
Yeah.
Honda is first and foremost a business that's looking to make money, and I think if you're into motorsports and you're looking to make money, you're not ignoring side by sides at this
Yeah.
point, especially the sport market. So,
It'd be neat to see, and I
Gosh.
think it's like it'd be cool to see more brands than the big three.
Yeah, if this was 1984 and side by sides were popular, Honda would have had the sickest, best one. But
Right,
after all that
right.
three-wheeler garbage and lawsuits and stuff like that, they haven't really hung their balls out there like they used to.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
So-
and knowing their history on one hand, it's really exciting to think about what they might bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you think about like how developed, the Razor is and the X3 and just, the market's not mature. The products aren't mature yet, but I mean, there's been a lot of time to develop these things. So to jump in at this point, it's like,
You never know though.
Yeah.
you don't know. We don't know. Honda doesn't really talk to us. So
No,
I hit up
just
Honda. They said
good to know. So, from my opinion, there's no way that anybody, at least in the next year, is going to put out a machine that will, blow the X3 out of the water.
again. You don't know that.
There's no way. What else could you add?
Know that.
Anything you do is going to make the machine too big.
That is true. So that's the one thing. If there is, that's not too big. I guess I was gonna say if there's anything bad about the X3, it's too big. It's not too big, but it's a big rig. When you see it in real life, she's a big unit.
It's huge.
Like it makes mine look like a little fucking.
It's like the size
toy.
of a Grand Am.
Yeah.
I think that's about
huge.
I think that's about the limit for size. So
Yeah.
when you limit size, that in a way, in a roundabout way, limits travel, right?
Well,
Suspension
totally.
travel.
Yeah, geometry only goes so far.
So there's not a heck of a lot you can do there. Engines are getting pretty wild. Like horsepower levels are getting high. So you struggle to see where they could really do something above and beyond. Probably the biggest area that still needs some work maybe is transmissions, right? I mean,
they would have a DCT just like the Pioneer, which is cool.
I want to see that. I really do want to see that.
But I still think the market actually really lacks like a really, really good CVT machine.
True.
I agree.
I
agree.
Obviously, there's a lot of companies out there working on stuff, and aftermarket companies giving you clutches, but there really isn't anything out there yet that you can push 100%. And especially coming back from, Baja and understanding that people drive the cars in such a way to save the belt. Like, that's almost heartbreaking.
That's a big hinder right there.
It's a huge hindrance.
Crazy.
It's like, wait, this is why you're going slow?
Mm-hmm.
So you'd think, everybody would just build the shit out of a YXZ and rip it. But that's not the case.
Right. You mean I'm racing and I can't go as fast as I can go? It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yep.
So the market is lacking something good.
So maybe Honda's the one to
DCT.
blow that
know,
open.
Dude.
But
You never know. I mean, we drove a machine with a dual clutch, right?
Yeah.
It was only $350,000 more. But that felt good.
Yeah, DCT is our next level, man. The speed of the shift is unreal.
Yep. Yeah.
Not that that's a big deal.
Outside of that, I think the window is closed as far as dominating the market goes. So, what'd you guys?
Well, I don't know what Nick's doing. I don't know what he's doing. He's like a crazy dog.
Somebody said that they could only
What
see
the fuck?
that they could only see Nick's back. They wanted to see his face more.
It's because I want to see this mustache, bro. I've been working on this unit for
All
a
right,
long
so
time. But anyways,
I've been watching a couple other podcasts, and I think ideally this TV leaves because it's pretty much useless, and one of us sits here.
Oh,
interesting.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then we can put the camera on the table. Well, maybe this table's long enough, but
Yeah.
What are your
right,
guys' thoughts on our seating position? Garbage or good?
yeah, I mean,
I feel like we're always really close to each other.
we're totally ready for suggestions too. By the way,
Right. Here's how this podcast came together. Somebody said, "Hey, we should do a podcast," and I said, "Oh, that's a cool idea."
$300 in parts later. Here we
Right.
are.
So I was, got on Amazon that day and just ordered a bunch of stuff I knew nothing about, and then spent about a week plugging it together in different orders until I got it to work.
Yep.
And then here we are. So, this is
You're
not well refined. So
This
any
is
suggestions are welcome.
This is probably the most enjoyable podcast there is in the universe. I've listened to a lot of podcasts in my day, and Steel Belt.
Look at see.
Steel belt CVT, is that the question?
Yes,
Automotive
automotive
CVT?
CVT. Doug and I were just talking about this. They're
Yep.
super unique in how they work. So I was trying to explain to Doug because he didn't have a lot of experience or understanding. Not that that means anything anyway.
No, I didn't know anything about automotive CVT.
Right,
It's not
so-
something I've ever looked into.
Yeah, so the belts are basically small plates that are held together with like a band, and the clutch, instead of pulling, it pushes the other clutch. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah, I saw the picture.
Right, they're super duper interesting, and obviously would be really reliable because they're in an oil bath, right? So they're cooled. They're made of steel.
Right.
The sheaves are steel. Would that be a hindrance on a small engine?
It has to
Probably.
be cost. It has to
Yeah.
be cost. Think about it.
Right.
Has to be.
Well, cost is a thing. Yeah, certainly efficiency and power loss was a thing. Now, pushing the 200 horsepower mark, maybe it's not as much of a thing.
Yeah. Would I rather have a machine that makes 150 at the motor and it's got this badass transmission, with
push
a steel
110.
belt, or 200 horsepower with a standard rubber CVT? There's it's no question to me.
Yeah,
Replace
no,
the
it's
belt with chains.
Replace the belt of the chain.
That's what they say, dude.
You don't know how a CVT works if that's the case. Aluminum
No, you can't do
and
that.
steel don't.
Yeah, we
Doesn't work.
we need something though, man. I mean, back when I had the OG Maverick, 101 horsepower, that thing was bone freaking stock, and I could, if I decided to blow a belt, I could blow a belt on command.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
I was
If
in
I-
there when you did it.
yeah. Yeah, the first time, and this is an old story now, but I won't tell the whole thing because it'd just take too freaking long. But Nick had his Wildcat as the first side by side he bought. I bought my Maverick, and I mean we were just at each other's throats about which one was better. So the first time
we both knew the answer to that one.
we're out there, and Nick's Wildcat broke down as it would just hundreds of times after that.
I had a rock, bro. Anybody could have hit that rock.
And he had to ride back to me with the to the truck in my Maverick. I decided I was gonna just really prove to him how badass the Maverick was.
It was good.
So he got in it, and we went so hard. And we went so hard that we blew the belt, through this man-eater section of whoops 5 miles away from the truck. And then instantly I realized that, I'd blown the belt on my Maverick, proving to Nick how cool it was.
You inadvertently broke it.
Yeah, while we were trying to get back to the truck, and we were by ourselves. So then we were 5 miles away from the truck with a blown belt just because I was proving a point. And it was hilarious. And just a whole bunch of funny stuff happened after that.
A lot more happened from that, but
at some point we'll dive into that story. But I feel like it's that story is worthy of more attention than just.
Yeah, we should go over that on the next one.
Right.
That's a good story. I've heard that story. That's a good story.
So yeah. Anyways, back to the
you
point.
There.
Is it a good story?
Back to the point.
Story. Listen.
Is it a good story, though?
It's a good story.
It's a good story. But even the point was, even with 101 horsepower, like if I wanted to go hard, I could just blow a belt whenever I wanted to. So now, with 150, 160, 172,
right.
I guess.
And so the thing with CVT belts, on a standard machine like we have on a side-by-side, it's not the strength of the belt, the pulling force. That's not it. Those belts will withstand hundreds of horsepower, no problem.
Right.
As shown by the snowmobile community. There's what, 700?
There's 700 horsepower snowmobiles that can go down a drag strip and not break a belt.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. So it's not the pulling force that kills it. It's just the frictional force and the inefficiency of the clutch and the
Heat,
crushing. Yeah, the heat.
Yeah.
It's all heat. So that's what eats a CVT belt.
Yeah, side by side suffer from having to have a sealed CVT system that's sealed from water and dirt and those sorts of things, and just doesn't get great ventilation and doesn't stay cool.
Yeah,
So,
and because of that, heat and rubber don't mix very well.
you're right.
It
does a body bad. So questions.
Oh my gosh, questions.
these questions are they're just.
How do you know
fun.
each other? How did you meet each other? I mean,
Okay, I'll
that's
start
fun
with
stuff.
Doug. I'll start with Doug.
All right.
I like this. Okay, this is a good
That's
story.
Yeah.
All right, so rewind back to about 2004, 2005. There's a local car forum, we'll call it.
Yep.
I had this Blazer that had a supercharger on it. It was slow as shit, didn't matter. And I was on said forum, and there was this guy on the forum as well that would pop in every once in a while and just say some really snarky shit, but in a way, it was like he was educated about it, and clearly this man was in his 40s. His name on the forum was Master of Faster. Okay.
We don't know who this is yet. This is early in the story.
So
hang in
fast forward about 2 to 3 years, I'm in a college class with some random people, and I overhear some talking, and I said, I think we know each other. And then I said to this person, "Are you Master of Faster?" And it was Doug.
Wait, how did you just out of nowhere go, I think we know each other?
So he was talking to another guy about some stuff, and I think it related back to something that was posted on this forum. I don't remember the exact conversation. Maybe you do.
I don't remember either. I think it revolved around a guy that I had started a bit of a feud with.
Oh my God, that was totally it. How did I forget about that?
Right, not gonna name any names.
Not in the forefront of my brain.
Right. So it was. I don't even want to call it a common enemy sort of thing. It was just a
common enemy.
All
That's
right,
what
maybe that was the case. So
just a douchebaggy type person. That we shared the hatred for. And he was talking about the person. I sort of remember now, and then I said, I think I know who you are. And then
the rest is history.
Yeah, we ended up getting some pizza together, and
that's when you guys knew you loved each other.
Fast forward 11, 12 years, and here we are.
I love pizza. Do you love pizza?
We used to go to Little Caesars and get just one hot and ready on lunch and just eat the whole thing. And I would just suck down gallons of Mountain Dew, and we just do that every week.
So he
a great time.
2 straws in the Mountain Dew, and he said,
"Bullshit!"
I swear. And I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "More flow."
Like I need maximum Mountain Dew. If I'm going to eat a half of a hot and ready pizza.
You got to have a lot of liquid.
He put 2 straws in the Mountain Dew, and you guys shared the Mountain
No.
No.
Those are both for me.
We could afford
both for me.
separate drinks. And then in terms of Nick, I think Nick can probably tell the story of how we met, because it's from his perspective, it's funnier.
Is it more funny? I was sitting there one day, I'm proud owner of a 2014 Polaris RZR XP 900, not knowing a fucking person, except for my buddy Scott. His ring wasn't working at the time, so I had nobody to ride with.
So it's Supercharger Scott.
Supercharger Scott. He had a 800, nosed out to the max. Too much nos. If there was ever a time for too much nos, that was that time.
He had nitrous on it. That's a real story. Anyway.
That's a real story. We'll get into that another time. Anyways, so I'm hanging out, living my life like a normal person, and my buddy Nate says, "Hey, I work with this guy, and he said he wants to race you." I go, "What?"
Wants to race you.
He said he wants to ride with you. I said this.
What'd you say?
I don't know, dude. This guy's sounding a little shady, dude. Anyways, hindsight 2020. I got hindsight 2020. Fast forward 2 weeks later, Nate goes, "Hey, do you want to go ride with these guys at St. Helen?" I go, "Yeah, that'd be a good time. We should do that." Nate fucking shoots a deer. Can't find the deer. Says to me, "You should go ride with these guys by yourself." I go, "No way, bro. I don't know these guys.
Right.
I don't know these dudes." So I went, and I met Nick at a mobile
gas station.
at a gas station.
Yeah, my first impression was interesting.
My first impression
Mine as well.
was interesting.
Well, he has this Yukon with 26-inch rims on it.
Sucker's tight, dude.
Totally blacked out,
She's
debadged, and then a RZR 900 on a trailer that looks like it's somewhere in a value of maybe $200 to $300
She's
on
a
the
good
trailer.
trailer, dude.
It's worth less than one of his wheels on his top.
Oh, by a long shot.
If I had $1 for every time that trailer got me out of a good situation, it'd be $5, $6.
Yeah,
But
Out
anyways,
of a good situation. Anyway.
after this ride, I knew I had to be with these guys forever.
That's dedication, bud.
You're
I
not
knew.
wrong. You're not
After
wrong.
the first time, that was it. Like, I rode with them. It was the best riding I've ever had experienced in my life. And I said, we got to ride more.
So if you guys rewind back on YouTube and go to our first rides video, which I think was incorporated along with like a garage video, because at the time I wasn't splitting them, he's in that video.
Garage number 2.
Yeah, he doesn't really talk at all, but he's in the
Yeah, 'cause
background.
you guys didn't like me. You're just like, just fucking...
We just met you and
Whatever,
you were being
dude.
super weird.
How was I being weird? What does that even mean? How was I being
How
weird?
weren't you being
I
weird?
didn't know you guys. I showed up to this random place.
We were definitely from different places. I mean, so,
Yeah.
Nick rolls in, with this rig with 26s on it. And you guys probably don't know, a lot about where we came from. But, like, I come from a place where you don't drive around with 26s. That's not the cool thing to That's not the cool thing to do. We're obviously,
You just cut me deep right there.
we're obviously different,
Just
different people.
I'm a big fan of all things off-road. But I also like 26s.
Okay. I mean, I can't discount what you enjoy.
There's that.
Anyways,
So, what was the moral of the
there is
story?
that. That's how we met.
Oh, yeah. The moral of the story
pretty
is,
randomly, right?
It was around as to get the universe shifted and said, meet these dudes.
Did it say that?
I mean, how else would we meet?
I liked Nick Sous like right away.
Yeah, I
Yeah, so
right away,
as well.
but
So here's the thing about Nick Seuss that we all sort of realized after it happened is that we all had met him individually at an earlier time in life.
I forgot about that.
Visiting his party store.
That's very
Yep.
interesting.
So I went there one time to his party store is about, stone's throw away from a strip club. So I go
Yeah, he's not
to
wrong.
I go to the party store to get those little like shots of liquor so I can put them in my pocket and slip them into my pop that they give you at the strip club so I can
Sure.
get drunk and enjoy myself.
Right?
And so I'm like, just getting a couple shooters for the Voo. He's like, all right, tight. Like 2 years before I knew the guy.
Yeah.
Tight.
And I have a similar story from the party store, man. I'm at a freaking college party, and some guy says, hey, run over to Jenny's and get some quick light cools for a hookah. And I'm like, all right. I have no idea what quick light cools for a hookah.
Right.
No clue. So I walk in there, and there's Nick Sous, and I'm like, I need quick light coals for a hookah. And he says, I'll take care of you, bud.
I'll take care of you.
I'll
Say
take
no
care of you,
more,
bud.
fam.
You're a straight shooter, bud.
Yep. And I remembered that.
Yeah, and I think, at some point we all sort of realized we might have met each other in the past.
Yeah, how weird is that, huh?
You know?
Just been in each other's lives, just not consciously.
Well, when you have a store that sells things to the public that people buy.
Whatever.
But even after going on that first ride, and I meet Nick Sous, and I like him a lot, and think he's a real cool guy. Like,
right.
I don't know how long it was, but for a long time, you thought I didn't like you at all.
Listen,
Even to this
let's
day,
be honest with each other. There's no
Okay.
doubt about it. Doug didn't like me for some reason.
I will
I don't know
That
why?
is just
I would-
not true.
tell you with the firmest of faces that clearly this is a confidence issue with Nick Sous, because there's no way Doug doesn't like you. He would have told me.
He said it with his eyes, dude.
That's
What
just
is he
not
going to
true,
say with
man.
his? You don't even know Doug then. You don't even know.
I mean,
him.
I'm just I trend towards quiet, right? So I'm just not making a lot of
don't know,
conversation, but
I read people, and I read that.
I
Doug
think that was
doesn't like me.
a misread,
I
man.
read that
That was a
story.
misread.
I don't want to call you up.
Anyways,
It's totally wrong.
I hope we're over that
Blast
now.
past
at
that.
least.
I got
Blast past.
That didn't even hurt, dude.
I'm wincing from how loud it was in my ear.
I'm glad I met you guys.
Thumped you pretty hard there, bud.
Yeah, I haven't really paid for a lot of alcohol since I met Nick Sous, so that's been a nice money-saving exercise.
He's not wrong.
And I also got to ride in a Ferrari for free. Yeah, so that was true.
I hope you've enjoyed your experience with me. Both you guys.
I mean, I can't say enough how much I've enjoyed the experience.
Yeah, totally enjoy it.
It's been great.
I have also enjoyed you guys' company.
So, borderline sentimental here.
Maybe
Moving on.
guys,
maybe
I'm glad
we
you
spent
guys
too
got
much
to
time on
experience
this topic.
Yeah.
Moving on. Also,
Okay.
aren't we supposed to talk about Baja or something?
It's too
So,
late.
way past that.
yeah. So what we
The
decided
Harmony
is,
commercial.
Oh my god!
Oh, my
Savage
gosh.
comments.
So what we decided was, obviously we just came back from the Baja 1000 not that long ago, and it was for all of us, and this is going to sound dramatic, but like borderline life-changing experience.
Yeah.
Absolutely eye-opening,
Yep.
incredible in so many ways, and it is, we decided before the podcast that it is 100% worth its own discussion, its own dedicated discussion. So that's why we didn't dive into that too much tonight. It wouldn't do it justice to touch on it for 15 minutes in the middle of an hour and a half long podcast. So we're
Well,
gonna
here the next episode. We have to. That's
And
like
the first
Yep.
video from it's doing so well that clearly
you
our
guys
fans
can-
are interested.
right.
It's okay.
The true, yeah, right,
The true fans like it.
right.
If you haven't watched it, go ahead and watch it. The video doesn't do itself justice until you actually do watch it. It was a really fun one to put together, and it was a really fun one to make. And that's only part one.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of fun, stupid stuff, and it's just a great time.
There's a lot more where that came from, brother.
It
not
was,
wrong.
you'll enjoy the story. It was incredible. So, we got couple other questions, sort of kind of repeats. Upgrade for the YXZ. So we talked a little bit about that earlier.
Right.
Like there's plans for what I'm doing, and we're not quite to the point where we're going to discuss those yet. But you'll like them. Secrets.
Yeah, I think when we nail them down, we're still working with some people, but when we nail them down, we'll happily announce what's going to happen and talk about it and
Right.
preview the series of videos that's going to come from it and all sorts of good stuff.
Yep. So, what we do for a living was just asked. I think we've talked about that
We'll
Certainly.
hit that another
in the
time.
past. Yeah. So if you do a little searching, you'll probably find that.
Yeah, in the About section in our YouTube, there's a little bit of a blurb that talks about what we do.
He's
none
an
of us.
engineer. He creates chemicals. I sell booze. It's that simple.
Yeah, none of us are superstars. We'll say that.
That's it.
No.
Whatever you're
Just-
doing, just look at your friends, average that result, and that's pretty much what we do.
Couldn't be more average. So Colorado trip, people are asking about a Colorado trip. I think that's another thing that falls in the want to do category.
Right.
But it's
Totally.
just finding the time and figuring out where to slot that in.
There's just too many places to go, and I think given a perfect world with the perfect amount of money and the perfect amount of time off, we would gladly spend another 2 weeks, traveling out west and really enjoying ourselves doing that. But
I just want to travel forever, really.
yeah, I mean, going into 2018, it's probably not doable to do that trip again,
right?
Just because of all the factors that went into planning and all the money that was spent.
You never know what tomorrow brings.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know. So they're not going to cut it out.
Yeah,
but we're just going to say it's not planned right now.
Right.
This whole deal has surprised me in the past. It will probably surprise me again. But
indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to get back there. Colorado was awesome.
We didn't get to experience Colorado enough.
Yeah.
Right.
I would need at least a couple days in Colorado.
I got a taste. Now I want the whole burger.
Yeah, you're right.
Right.
You just sniffed it.
I smelt that meat, and now I want to eat it.
So we're in a little bit of a, it's almost like a give a man a fish versus teach a man to fish situation here. So,
you're a wise guy here.
Elaborate.
Yeah. So last year we really just kind of pulled together all our liquid resources, to go on these huge trips, and we realized how much we love doing those, how much we love bringing them to you, and realize that we need to do a lot more of them. But to make that feasible in the future, we're going to have to kind of realign in a way and kind of re-equip.
Indeed.
To make it more feasible to do on a regular basis.
Basically, more money.
What this leads us to is we need a freaking toter home.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need a toter home.
Right.
We need $2.7 million.
Okay, that's too much.
We don't need $2.7 million.
Okay, $1.7 million. And then that's it. Those are the two things we need.
So if we can continue growing Side by Side Blog at the pace it's been growing for the past few months, which, by the way, thank you everybody who's subscribed and viewed. It was a great past couple months, the best the blog's ever seen on YouTube. And we actually made enough money to put some in our bank account that we're saving for trips and for whatever we're going to do next year. But if we can keep growing at that pace, we will absolutely 100% be able to fund some trips to go wherever.
We'll take you guys with us.
You can live vicariously.
Not literally.
Well, I mean, there's
you
some
can
people,
come. You're always invited. Everybody's always invited.
Brian has come to multiple trips.
Brian, I miss you, bud.
I
miss you, bud.
Kyle and Ryan in Colorado.
Kyle and Ryan, I miss you, buds.
We want to see these guys again.
We want to meet you guys, dude.
We want to ride.
We just like riding and hanging.
You're good people. If you're watching us right now and you're enjoying what you're seeing, you're good people. We want to see you. If it can keep growing, it can fund our dreams.
Right. So I guess the takeaway is we're working on it. We're working on it. So
I just want to block your head, dude. It's
gosh.
impossible.
Other quick questions here.
Solar eclipse of the Sous.
Excursion plans. So I bought an excursion earlier this year, and so after we got back from these trips, that's kind of what drove this. I realized, okay, we can't afford to just rent a vehicle every time we want to go on a big trip. So we need a 3-row, tow rig. So I went out and bought an excursion, which is just, a huge fiasco in itself. Just what turned out to be a gigantic mess. And I've got this thing now, and it's cool and I like it, and I'm not getting rid of it because I think they're neat vehicles, but it's not the end game for us. We need something even bigger.
No, I totally agree with you.
Like what? What is that thing called?
A toter home.
Toter home.
Not that anybody heard you say that, Nick, but it's called a toter home.
Right. You're a long ways away from the mic now, buddy.
Go to the bathroom so bad.
Just go.
I have to pee so bad.
Just go.
All right.
Sorry, buds. I'll be right back.
Any of you guys who watched Nick's podcast that he did the other day, his mic etiquette was on point. I'm not sure if he just doesn't respect us as blog people or what's going on.
Two of these Bud Light. What are these things?
Yeah.
Clamato.
Nick just doesn't drink is the problem.
Like this is garbage.
Okay,
but
Bud Light, if you want to sponsor us, that's one of the best drinks I've ever had.
Bud Light.
I don't think we're going to get sponsored by them.
No. So, the Excursion is it's a cool vehicle. It's a unique vehicle. I'm not going to get rid of it. I just like it, but it's not really. It's too old. It's got too many miles to honestly trust. Constant cross-country trips.
Yeah, I would trust it going, a number of times, but I don't think we'd want to rely on it for the rest of our experience.
No. So we're looking for something beyond that. We're thinking a little bit bigger now. So,
right, and I think if we get into a rig that we can actually sleep in, I mean that saves us money right off the bat, considering that we don't have to get hotels, and we don't have to worry about driving in the town to do whatever we're going to do. We can just go where we're going to ride and literally sleep where we're riding.
Yep. So, notable thing here, Brian Lewis is watching.
Brian Lewis
is just a champion of champions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your buddy Brian is watching, Nick. We just want to let you know that.
One of the greatest people
that
we've met in this whole thing.
Old Trapper himself.
Old Trapper.
The beef jerky oracle.
I had some Old Trapper like 3 days ago, and it brought me back to better times. Right. Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
He's a great guy, and we look forward to riding with him again. Whenever that's going to happen.
The fans want to hear me say garbage.
Say it.
Garbage.
Garbage, bud.
Okay.
Nick's razor is garbage.
Just freaking garbage. All right, so leading into to fun catchphrases and words and all this stuff, we are opening a shop for you guys to finally buy T-shirts. So we've gone through a lot of people who've reached out to us to try to get merchandise, and when it comes down to these time constraints in terms of shipping and in terms of creating and storing, it just didn't make sense. So we went through a website that does everything basically on the end. So we have designed the shirts and are putting them up for purchase. So that is coming really, really, really soon. They're available right now to purchase, but I don't want to give the website because I haven't set everything up yet.
We're getting samples and stuff to make sure this stuff isn't junk, right? So,
right. But it's highly reviewed positively from people across the internet. So, in terms of price, feel free. Anybody letting us or listening right now, $18 shipped is about the best we can do for a shirt.
Yeah, I mean our volumes aren't high. Right?
Yeah, and it's not even volume pricing. It's one person buys a shirt a month, it's going to be $18.
Right.
And 20,000 people buy a shirt. The price doesn't change on this site. So maybe crazy volumes they do change.
You want a nice shirt?
Yeah,
it's so simple.
Some people have asked. We don't need you to buy a shirt. We would absolutely love for you to have one if you wanted one. So that's what this is for.
Right. So we got shirts, we got stickers.
Shirts, stickers, hoodies, women's tank tops and shirts are coming with that as well. Spring 2018 collection coming out soon.
2018.
Yep.
So we'll announce that on our webpage and Facebook when that's ready. So just know that it's coming.
Hoodies.
He said hoodies.
I said hoodies.
I'm sorry.
That's the Clamato talking.
Yeah, it's about time to wrap this up, I think. Oh, no. Things have really deteriorated here. But yeah, so I mean, as far as buying merchandise goes, we're not making a fortune on this stuff.
Making a fortune, barely making anything.
Yeah, right. This is basically...
We just want to see you guys wear our shirts. That's
if you want to, I would love to sell one to you.
Yeah, and just spreading the word is the biggest thing.
Right, word of mouth advertising is really undervalued because it seems like socially it's the biggest wave. But just telling your friends about us and if you enjoy it and you think other people would enjoy it, just show them some stuff. I mean,
right.
We have comments all the time that say, I watched every episode you guys have, and I just found it so much fun.
If you guys tell your friends and your friends watch us and we grow and we get bigger, what we're going to do is we're going to, reinvest that into more fun stuff and more cool content. That is absolutely the goal. So.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, even since we've started this, the quality's upped. I've spent a ton of money on cameras. We've all spent a ton of money on GoPros. We got a freaking drone. We're looking to bring quality content to everybody.
Right.
And speaking of the shop, I will send somebody a free shirt. The first person that finds my old YouTube channel, and there's a video of Doug falling through the ice and me pulling him out with a green Wildcat. The video is on YouTube.
Oh my gosh.
If you find the video, link it in the comments, and I will send you whatever you want for free. Shirt, hoodie, women's shirt, sticker, whatever you want.
That's a good video.
If you find the video, link it up.
Yep. Yeah.
That's that.
Yep. Tell your friends. That's the best thing you can do for us.
Just share it.
Certainly.
Buds. Just share it, dude. Share the fun.
Right.
So yeah,
we will reinvest.
So having said that, thank you to Dustin Jones.
Thank you, Dustin Jones. What a great experience talking with
S3.
him today.
Yeah, good guy.
That was freaking cool listening to that.
He's just a down to earth guy.
I'm gonna meet that guy next year.
Yeah.
2018. I'm gonna meet him. I'm gonna shake his hand. Give him a hug.
Gonna meet him at the Baja 1000.
Ain't no doubt about it. Thank
We'll
you,
be there.
Dustin Jones.
We'll be there.
Oh, will we be in a chase truck? Will we be driving a race car? Nobody knows.
Yeah.
All right, we probably know. We're not gonna
I
be driving
know.
a race car, but
Crazier things happen,
That's
man.
true,
I mean,
dude. That's true.
yeah, at
Anyways,
this
thank you,
point.
Dustin.
Yeah, with the amount of people that are going next year, it could totally happen. But again, episode 4. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening if you're listening. And again, shout out to Dustin Jones from S3. Check out their website. Check out Visions of Victory on YouTube or Facebook, whichever you like. The episodes are super duper fun.
Yeah,
It's a good
they're
show.
really high quality. Just really high quality content.
Awesome.
Yeah, they're
Really
like
well produced.
Yeah, no, they're super
and
good.
Yeah.
really interesting, really fun stuff. Those guys go hard and just have a great time.
Right.
So
Work hard, play hard.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. So until next episode, we're going to try to get one again before 2 months passes.
We'll get her
Yeah.
quick. We'll get her quicker.
Just
we'll
know,
wear these
just
the whole time next time. Gosh darn it.
I wore mine. I don't know what happened to you
Yeah,
guys.
because your neck is made out of pure steel, dude.
Solid point.
just know that we're so busy because we're busy making content.
Right.
Boom.
And
So-
if I'm not making content, I'm doing homework. If I'm not doing homework, I'm
Looking
making
up stuff
content.
on-
I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
But this is the second time that we've gotten together in a very long time. So know that at least, we're coming together for that.
You're
So
gonna want to hear
next,
that story about the Baja on this next one.
I think that's probably
It's
going to
good.
be the next podcast is a detailed Baja story, which is
It's a story.
It's good.
yeah,
It's a great
worth-
time.
It's an experience.
It's worth living.
You guys want to know about the Baja? And that shit was crazy.
All right.
So until next time, guys.
All right,
Thanks
dudes,
again.
stay up.
Peace.
You too, guys.
See you guys.
Stay up. Take care of each other.
Thanks again.